In Fjall, no one chose the path. You only followed the one already carved. After Tyr, there was no unity, no order, only scattered men, and silence between them. Jorgrim did not look for answers, only work.
So here I am. The caravan is gone. My leg is crippled. Half my men are dead, and the other half are deserters and traitors. The host be praised. At least I've got the Stoneshard. If I knew I had to deal with an entire cult of devil knows what. If only I could have a good talk with Gwinnell right now. I need to get back to Bryn.
The inn was warm. Too warm for Fjall. The old mercenary spoke, like someone who had survived long enough to stop asking questions. Jorgrim said nothing. He simply did what every mercenary does, look for work. Driven by years of raider experience, he walked through Osbrook's shops, buying only what he needed to face whatever waited beyond the small town. Food, supplies, a second axe, nothing more, nothing unnecessary. When he was done, he made his way to the governor's office, the place where contracts changed hands. Aldor looked up from his papers. What he saw was a mercenary who seemed hollow. He didn't ask questions. There are moments when silence says enough. Jorgrim took the directions. His first contract, a small fortress seized by bandits somewhere beyond the outskirts of Osbrook. He tucked the note among his belongings and left. With 2 axes at his side and no reason to stay, he followed the only thing that had brought him south: work. And then, the moment came. For the first time since arriving in Osbrook, Jorgrim had to raise his axes. Not for Fjall, not for his brothers, only for work. Bandits standing guard at the entrance were the first to stand in his way. The stronghold lay behind them. So did the contract. It was enough. It would have to be. His body reacted before his thoughts. Years of raiding had turned certain things into habit. The axes rose, the axes fell, and the guards were no longer a problem. The campfire was still burning. Jorgrim decided to make use of it. He ate, he rested, he kept one eye open in case anyone tried to get too close. Old habits survived as well. The assault could wait a few more minutes. Sleep, however, remained elusive. Some things had been left behind in Fjall. Others had followed him south. The rest was over. The stronghold was still there, quiet from the outside. Jorgrim got to his feet, adjusted his axes, and stepped inside. He had spent years entering places like this, sometimes under orders, sometimes out of necessity, never out of curiosity. The walls were different, the names were different, but armed camps had a tendency to look alike. Beds, food, tools, men trying to survive one more day. The first group fell, much like the guards at the gate, quickly, without surprises, without glory. Jorgrim kept moving. It had been a long time since he stopped counting how many men had tried to kill him. In the end, most of them started to look alike. Faces changed, names changed, banners changed. But once the axes started speaking, the differences mattered less. There was something comforting about the work, not because it was pleasant, but because it was simple. There were no questions, no difficult choices, just the next step, and then another. Maybe that was why he'd taken contracts. Not for the coin, not for the reputation, but because as long as there was work to do, he didn't have to think too much about anything else. As he moved forward, Jorgrim remembered something he had forgotten. Work had one advantage. It asked for no explanations. It didn't care where you came from. It didn't ask what you had lost. It only demanded that you keep moving. More men kept appearing, one after another. As if killing the guards at the gate hadn't been enough of a message. Jorgrim was growing tired of it. Every gang had a leader. Every stronghold had someone giving orders. And as long as that man kept breathing, others would keep fighting for him. It was an old lesson, one he had learned long before coming south. So he did the only thing that seemed reasonable. He stopped looking for the men and started looking for the one leading them. He didn't shout out of anger. He didn't shout out of pride. He simply wanted to finish the job. If the leader was worth anything, he would answer. The leader didn't last long on his feet. The duel was brief. No spectacle, no words. When he fell, Jorgrim cut off one of his ears. Proof was worth more than any explanation. The others hadn't yet realized the fight was over. They kept coming. They kept falling, one after another, until no one was left standing. Silence returned, and the work still remained, even when there was no one left to do it on. The job seemed finished. The hostage was safe. The contract could be closed. Jorgrim escorted him toward the exit without a word. The man spoke, but the words didn't stay for long. Outside, the air was the same as before. Nothing had changed, or almost nothing. A movement at the edge of sight. Someone still hiding. Jorgrim stopped. He didn't think about it for long. Habit decided before he did. He turned back. The rest of the work was not finished yet. It had only changed shape. The last bandit fell without much resistance. There was nothing special about it, just another ending. Jorgrim checked what mattered, took what had value, left what didn't. The contract was done, or at least that's what the paper said. Outside, the world remained the same, as if nothing had happened. The road continued until the body asked for rest. Jorgrim didn't ignore it. It wasn't a decision, it was maintenance. He was given a roof for the night. He asked no questions, he made no comments. Sleep was just part of the job, when the job couldn't continue. Osbrook didn't feel different. That was the strange part. After everything that had happened, everything remained the same. And finally, the reward, payment. No ceremony, no story. Just coins changing hands. And with that, the contract was behind him. Officially, at least. There were things to do. There always were. Keeping equipment in working order, replacing what had been spent. Preparing for whatever came next. Jorgrim knew that routine better than most. He had spent years repeating it. After a raid, after a battle, after a contract. The work didn't end when the axes stopped falling. It ended when a man was ready to raise them again. And sooner or later, there was always another job waiting. Another contract. Another direction marked on a map. Another place that meant nothing to him. Jorgrim took the note, tucked it away with the rest of his belongings, and prepared to leave. There was work waiting.